Elevated, everyone's, we're good.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting? Do you have a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Second. Everybody in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nope. Great. Do we have any visitor comments this month?
None scheduled, and I see none on Zoom or in the room, so.
Old business, the business coffee subcommittee, do you have any kind of report?
Just a report that we have a date, September 18th.
Rec Center again.
Rec Center again, we would like that.
Time.
Yeah,
Same
shoot
as-
for like a 9 start. And then we're gonna have an update on the CID. And then Blue Dot update, run through that. And maybe one other thing.
I think we talked about maybe like if the Green Dining Alliance or
If they're
sustainability
back,
wanted to
yeah.
come again.
I think they're still trying to fill that key role, aren't they, of,
The Green Dining Alliance, I believe, has filled it, but they haven't operationalized it yet, so we have not issued any grants and gone down door to door in the restaurant, because there's no one in the backside there to really help out from the Green Dining Alliance yet, so. Which is, sort of crucial to that whole point. I mean, we have really Fran and Sean Finnegan, our sustainability coordinator, to go around and help make the introductions, but all the practical, this is what you need to do, ABC. Not in our expertise of wheelhouse.
it's still in the works?
But maybe by
All the
September.
funding,
Yeah.
all the funding is still hit, so it's gonna be all rolled over. This budget has got it all helped to hold over last year's.
So yeah, it'd be a mixture of the first two, I guess.
The station.
Yeah, so have maybe 3 stations and then present.
That's smart.
Were we
Like
gonna
the
present or were we gonna have like mingle kind of thing? I think
Well, I
we
guess,
talked about.
yeah, a booth, mingle in the booths, but small presentations or talking about the
Yeah.
items.
Okay,
Presentations being lots of chairs like seated, so like trade shows where you come up and they're doing like.
I mean, I'm thinking for Blue Dot, you might have like some people there to be able to sit and watch a little, like interactive.
For Blue Dot, we can bring just a bunch of computers.
Yeah.
And bigger screens and let people actually update and play with it. So that's not a problem with
Okay.
that.
for the CID portion, I was kind of wondering if it might work sort of like our town hall things that we did with the crab. Where we had like, some boards that have like different questions and aspects on it, and then maybe if, like representatives from the BBC could be with a certain topic to help explain it.
Sure.
I like that idea.
For everyone's reference, that was, Charter Review Board had a big board, so like, if it was an issue about council compensation, it had a big board with what the current was, what are some of the things they're looking at. So you can do the same with the SID, what's the
Yeah.
current property tax funding, but this is sales tax. So what's the difference?
Right, and what do our neighbors look like? What are they like, what are some examples of CIDs like in Missouri or like that would be models for us? And, like what are kind of the funding that it can be used for and things like that. So that's a great segue then, if that's all for the coffee. Do we have,
We know where one order.
yeah, that's what
We can do that months in advance, so yes, a local spot. We're not blaming you, obviously, it's not.
No, it's fine. No, just tell me where you want it from,
Yeah.
so we can get it.
Should we try 23 West again?
Yeah,
We 23 West, okay?
Okay.
Do you guys want to call or do you want us to call?
we can call.
I'll call.
Yeah.
You can go. I will give you all the tax ID information and such, and so you
Okay.
can know what it is.
Quantity wise, do you think, is it usually you just tell them how many people and then they tell you how?
That's what we've done, or we've just bought, trying to guess, I mean, the first one was a good robust turnout, the second one, I didn't expect all that same thing, so it's been. I think we had too much from the annex, but that.
Yeah,
I told
that
how many
was a
folks to
lot.
expect,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
so.
it was really.
You have
good.
$500 and, you have $1,000, so 500 for each.
Okay.
Okay.
So. You have most of the supply, so it's really food.
Okay.
Got it.
okay,
You talked about last month having expertise there, like legal expertise.
Yeah.
Is that something you still?
Well, I was gonna bring that up for the CID subcommittee. the last time or the time that I met with the subcommittee people, we talked about having like a packet or like a. What's our next step, like something tangible that we could show to people instead of just this general, let's talk. And so I've been working on that, but the more I read about subcommittees, CIDs. The more I really do think the next step is to really get that legal piece in. So I don't know if that's going to go all the way to the coffee, but I definitely think we need to do that before we bring anything else to people, like to see what's possible. I'm having a hard time finding a CID model that's a whole city and
Mhm.
not just like a district. And I know that we were looking at some past minutes, where the BDC looked at a CID before and they talked to the city attorney.
Mhm.
It's in 2017, so this is the old city
They
attorney.
just say different city attorney.
Yeah,
Different city, everything. pretty much.
The word may meant something different there, in
Right.
2017 than it does now.
Yeah,
And
is
they-
that something Neil could?
So Neil can certainly do that. It'll probably be, and this wouldn't be an extra cost as well. I mean, we can ask Neil. Gilmore Bell does all of our tax finance. So like the bond sales we're gonna do here with the park and recreation bonds. That's all done by them. That's already built into their package. So I mean, they write the SID type of stuff for the municipal league all the time.
Okay.
What it is. So we can ask them to do that, be part of it. That's not an issue. They're gonna come and give you a legal opinion and
Yeah.
advice. And I'm assuming what I'm hearing is you probably want to have something more concrete. And this is the way we're thinking in September.
right,
So you want to make sure you got your ducks in a row sort of here, June,
correct.
July, August, right?
And then I guess my next question is that legal meeting something that we do in the subcommittee, or do we do it in front of the whole BDC? Like, does everybody want to hear?
Well, that's a great question. I think that goes back to a sort of a sense of what scope you're looking for, right? Because and maybe we don't have an answer yet. I don't, from you all, but if you want a citywide SID, then I think probably coming here to the whole group and just getting it out in front of everyone, so we all have the same information would be very important. If you're just gonna go to say a couple little districts, or maybe the ones that aren't business districts now and such, whatever that scope may be, I think determines that answer, because there's a whole different level of involvement in politics either way.
I personally feel like we should, we've talked about it so much, we should continue to pursue exploring the citywide SID. And then we need to find out soon if that's possible or not, because if it's not, we need to find another option that includes everybody. So I think everybody, but that's just fine.
There was an email that I sent
Mhm.
this morning that for Missouri, it explains like how and why SIDS were created in Missouri and what the intent was. Some of the language was really interesting, like here, pulled it up.
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah, I've read this in there.
Yeah, that the president of the Downtown St. Louis Partnership stated that CIDs provide more equity, participation, and ultimately more impact than business tax districts. Which is why the state moved ahead with it. Further down too, it also explains like some of the potential uses. It's not intended to be in place of, civic and municipal funding for like, say, roads or streets or things like, pedestrian areas. It's an enhancement of those.
And that just so you're very clear, that was for the business districts as well. So wherever we were, what year Old Webster was on, let's just say Old Webster, whatever year it was, the municipal services we provide them is now a baseline. And we can't back them out of the general fund or such, or out of other services, and put them on the district because that tax exists now. The tax had to go for something supplemental, enhancement above and beyond the floor of the general services provide. So the SID is really gonna look at that, right? I mean, that's why I'm saying it influenced our conversation with marketing, but you've got a nice low floor right now in terms of business marketing, business support. It's not a lot that we do in terms of dollars. So that the SID could easily grow well above that and never have to worry about that issue. So.
Another thing that it mentions further down in this document is that it's been in some cases, especially in Missouri, some of the case studies where it's been used were for areas that were blighted and had, issues with like time and business development and things like that. But that it's used if it's used in areas that are already prosperous, they become even better. Which they, from the state's perspective, helps the economic growth.
The thing that I get weary on is the connecting the places, because then in those 2017 minutes with the attorney, he was saying it gets tricky when there's residential involved, and then how do you figure out how to cut them out and do that?
Never seen a
Why
street,
would
you
you-
never seen a district go right down the middle of a street before?
Why
Congressional
would you,
districts.
why would you cut through, I mean, why would you try to cut around residential?
Oftentimes if there's property tax involved, because whoever's
Oh,
in,
right.
whoever's
There's
in the
different ways.
district has
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
voice in the district now, right? So I mean, oftentimes these are done by business owners, you go back to the Grove again, right along Manchester. They want to make that enhancement, and so businesses want to be involved. You cut the residents out, now you don't have other electors that can influence elections on tax-based issues or budget issues. You could theoretically have a flip where you have a business or a SID or business district that is now more predominantly residential and is serving residential purposes.
So, and then there's also like different structures,
Mm-hmm.
like that would be one where it's based on like property tax and things like that, but if it's a sales tax.
But what-
Structure,
Or would they still get to vote,
I don't think so.
Who's that?
the
Residents?
residents?
Whoever's in the district does.
Right.
Cause there are other things that I think, like.
There are limitations on it, depends on some of the things with the way the city sets it up. But ultimately, through the Hancock Amendment, whoever's in a district boundary has a right to vote on the tax issues in the boundary.
Which could be fine, I mean, they could vote.
Old Webster and Old Orchard have residential people in them right now, right? There's residential taxes being collected, doesn't change the nature of the district. It's just a matter of if things go off the rails sideways somewhere along the way, you have a different universe in the population of who is represented.
And then we talked about like having like a plan, cause like the SID needs to be for something. So do you think it's enough to just say it's for like economic development and tourism?
I think it is, yes. There is usually, that is what is being said about it, but then there's usually something, right? People that elect to have a tax raise on something, even if they're not paying it, sales tax, other people may be paying it. What's the new tiny thing? What's the improvement on what we have, right? It's usually a streetscape or it's some kind of parking infrastructure needed in the shopping area, things like that.
There's a list in there of some of the potential uses, and also, you have to have a 5-year plan when you set up a SID. So it's going to have to be really well spelled out and projected as far as the income and expenses and everything.
Backup plans I saw though, not to get too far ahead, but what about just like an economic development sales tax, like kind of like what we did for Prop W, but it would just be like a tiny thing and then it went to businesses and that would give us a budget?
So some of it, yes, but there's some structures around that economic development sales tax that you can use it for certain things, but not for other things.
Got it.
So you can't put a streetscape into that tax.
Got it.
So
But if we're looking for marketing.
if you're looking
then-
at marketing, there may, yes, there's some things in there that we have to look at. The other issue for the city is, SID is not the city's sales tax. Once you take that 0.5 economic development tax, put it on, it's the city's, we are now left with no other sales tax capacity for any other purpose. We can only go to 2.25%
Okay.
as
I
the,
read that too,
as the,
yeah.
as the local government. So we're at we're 1.5 right now. So we've got 3/4 cent to be able to go yet.
Yeah.
Not saying we're going to do that, but it's, that is something the city council has to think about, right? If we need that other kind of revenue for general purpose in the future, fire is a great example. Technically, the fire sales tax is a half penny. We only authorized a 1/4 penny. So we've left a 1/4 on the table for some future purpose. That all has to go to fire. Then we go back out to the voters and ask them. That would still work with what you're talking about, the EV sales tax, but it's a different mechanism. It affects the city in a different way. We've never brought it up to the council in recent history, so it can be part of the conversation if you.
Maybe at the coffee, like a focus could also be like getting people's opinion on what they want that carrot to be. Like, do you want marketing? Do you want public art? Do you want
So one of the interesting things that we did, kind of like we did with like some of these copies, when we had the boards, because we all made boards for like the other copy thing. Was those kinds of, you know, like notes where people would leave that, so we could ask them to kind of rank.
Yeah.
Things, the other thought I had was, I mean, this is like a huge thing for people to wrap their heads around. Is if we had a subcommittee meeting this summer, where like maybe we narrow down the focus for the coffee this summer and have that committee meeting and learn what some of the questions are, or some of the concerns, or some of the carrots and things like that, that would help better inform what our final.
Would this be the current subcommittee that we already have, or would it be different people?
I think may as well be the same people we already have, because they're already introduced to the idea, they're interested in learning more.
You know, to that point, is it possible to put out a survey of some kind?
Yep.
It would address that, and then you're giving everybody an opportunity to voice their thoughts.
And to rank
Yeah.
things, yeah.
Cause, yeah, I tried to get as broad of a group in the subcommittee as possible, but we don't have anybody from Yorkshire. But then it gets to that point, I'm like, do they even care? Like, you know, the people who want it. I don't know.
Well,
I know some
Don't
people
know
really
unless
do,
you-
and
don't-
some people are like,
Yeah.
I don't care. So,
That's always been a struggle, from what I understand, I don't know, Fran, you had been in business longer than me here, but, it's always been a struggle that involve Yorkshire in a way. In the.
They
sort of
don't have
like-
small businesses.
right, yeah,
I mean,
that's why I'm thinking, like,
it's-
that's why
it's-
they don't care.
Well, the
really.
property is just one owner.
Right.
So that's been the main, why would they vote to tax themselves when they already are in control of the whole thing?
well, because they're not, it would be a sales tax that is from.
I'm talking historically.
So in the case of a CID, would it be business owners and property owners?
It's a great, but it depends on the taxing model, so I have to look back at that one. Bone up, it's great questions asked, so.
But yeah, let's get the legal thing situated, see if, what it would look like legally to have this. in.
Well, so I think from we're hearing, we've got enough questions that we probably, the June meeting is involving the lawyer. Come and talk through a series of those questions, lay out, if you all want to send me your ideas of questions, try to make a compendium of what's this look like, who, what, when, or why's, and how's, and all those questions. Get that over, it's probably Mark Grimm, maybe Shannon Creighton, either one of them, that'll probably. And I just to be very clear, so, and this is after the city council meeting, which Tammy did a great job at, representing your report. Council wanted to make very clear that the CID is perfectly fine, keep working on it, it's what it is, but it's still the BDC's recommendation, just, that's the. You do not want, the city has not yet put their stamp behind this stuff, it's the city
Yeah.
moving it forward.
Right.
Just, because there'll be enough people that will someday go, what? And, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of feel. On top of that, like, that's kind of why we need to get as much information as possible, because people are. Gonna be asking questions, and we need to be giving accurate statements.
Before it gets on Facebook.
Right. Like, there's already chatter, and it's like, we need to. Be responsible.
I got told we're buying Watson Road with the CID, that
Oh,
was one I got, so.
What?
We're buying Watson Road from the state with the city. It's like, I'm hoping for some nicer street lamps down there, but I didn't know about buying the road, so.
is there an easy way to figure out what businesses are not currently included in a business district besides just like going through a map? Like, is there like a poll?
Now, there is a way, yes, now include that, but not in the old system, so.
Okay.
But it's easy enough.
I'll
We
include
get
that.
Who knows?
Nice,
We'll be able to do that, so
cool,
we'll get to the.
that'd be helpful. Cause I feel like talking to those people would be, it's like the key to get the involvement, cause that's who it would lift up the most. I do think it is, makes it more equitable for all, which I think is, but those people might be
The
more
scale of
interested.
the funding benefits absolutely everyone in the entire community.
So if you just give you a sense of that, and Stephanie, I'll share this with you so you can see it. This is, I know I mentioned the fire sales tax. The reason I keep going to the fire sales tax, it's the only point of sales tax we have in the city. We get the whole thing from. So this is the one that we can judge how economic activity is going on here. So this is this year, fiscal 24, And as you can see, we budgeted 704,000, and we're at 548 right now, with 3 months of collection to come in. It's always a month late, so it's gonna really start in August for next year. But, you know, at $608,000 right now, 59,000 yet to post. So take that times 4, that's your penny sales tax. So in a year, you probably get, in fact, our estimate on this one's probably close to 800,000 next year. So that's 3.2 million if you go full boat.
And what is our current, like, special tax district
Only-
income?
The current revenues are.
Yeah.
40.
Process is like 20 something.
Just give you it in round thousands real quick. Apartments. Okay,
A lot less.
it's as much. as-
Scale here.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a whole different model, and that's why
It's a game changer, I think.
so.
There's a lot of complications and hurdles and.
So this is rounded in thousands. When you look here, here's Old Webster. So they're gonna make 79,000. Okay, for 37 in property tax, 37 to 40, depends on the delinquencies, but 37 is our number off the actual real property tax. Business licenses of 40, Old Orchard's at 39 and 20, but they're at 60,000 overall total. And then Crossroads is at 28,000. Crossroads is the only one that doesn't have any residential. You see some of that, like Old Orchard is starting to get more in property value because the residents in Bethesda have started to be taxed. The ones that aren't in nonprofit eligible, so Jerry knows that world well.
Yeah, so 167,000.
80, 60, and 28, so that sounds like 168 to me, 67, so.
That's a lot less
A
than
lot less.
3.2 million.
Yeah, so if you give-
Not that
yeah,
you
yeah,
would go a
right.
full percent up, but
I think that back to that 5-year plan and what you plan for, right? Because if you're going to have. We stop and think about the 22 million that we're gonna sell at some point, but those across 19 years, we'll need $1.6 million in bond and tax revenue every year for those bonds and the interest on them, so for 19 years. So,
And then once we get the legal thing. I think a good next step would to be figure out how we would set up the board to make it equitable, so it keeps. Everybody, you know, we don't want a whole board filled with just like everybody from Old Webster.
everybody from Crossroads or everybody from.
Exactly,
well, everybody from
or
Yorkshire.
everybody who's like, and like nobody from Old Webster, and it's like, excuse me, like,
Yeah.
you know, we need to make sure it's like. So whether that's based on
would
representing.
there be like delegates or something, you know, what I mean, how are cities usually set up?
So that's all part of the sort of the bylaws of the organization that you work through with the city on that sort of enacting legislation there. But there are some places where they haven't put in real good. Whole, you take percentages and it has to be in certain zones of the expenditures, you know, so
Right.
not one area gets the whole SWAT, but then what if you do that, what happens in the year when you got the one big project? You know, it's the old Webster streetscape. That's what needs it this year. Crossroads streetscape. needs it
Everybody
this
has
year.
different needs.
Right.
At different
And
times.
Let's just be clear, Old Webster's streetscape is 90, 91, somewhere in there. So I mean, it's coming back around here, that, you know, but after years is done at Crossroads.
Cause I did read somewhere that a board needs to have at least 5, but no more than 30. Which,
Oh, I can imagine how cool this is.
but it's like you want to have enough people.
Oh, yeah.
Represented.
Yeah, for sure.
And then who qualifies to be on that board? Cause some of, I was seeing where like, you have to be a property owner.
Mhm.
Others were like, you can just have a business in the area.
It depends
So
on the
like, I'm not a
structure.
property owner.
It also
Should I
depends a
be on
lot
that
with the
board?
city on how the city creates the sort of ordaining election for it and the documents behind it and that, from what I understand. Again, Mark will answer these questions. But we had that same problem with business districts. We had one that couldn't have an employee, was that Crossroads? It couldn't be an employee.
No, it's
Back in the
actually
day,
Old
It was
Webster.
Old Webster. Their ordinance originally, you had to be a property owner or the business owner, couldn't be an employee. So now that you got the more change coming in and such, well, who's the owner?
Right,
You know, who's the Edwards Jones owner that we're supposed to go?
or like Dewey's or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why we changed them all to include employees, so that you have agent of the
Cool stuff. New
company.
potential.
Would probably be helpful, and we'll work on this with Renee Tyler at new DCM on getting an inventory of what we currently do for the business districts. Not just we, the city, but I mean, across what the businesses do, what they provide to the trade associations, their outside partners. So if you can see, is all that moving and can also make some determinations. The city has to decide, does the business district stay? You know, that's separate from the SID. It's tied together, but it's a separate conversation, They're separate entities.
And like who's responsible for what in that case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because who's gonna be in charge of streetscapes in the future? Who's in charge of trash? Is it city staff or is it SID staff?
Could the city pay the SID? Is that possible?
The city could,
Yeah.
yes, but now if you usually, if they have tax authority, usually that's how it's taken
Okay.
care of. The city can't give up certain things, like you
Yeah.
can't give up street lights and things like that. 2-hour parking's always gonna be ours, but I think of Old Webster's parking signs, 2-hour signs that are gonna be redone. Decorative signs that can be laid out in an operating agreement that this belongs to the city. If you want a standard roadside sign, the city will put that.
So this is also something that could kind of tie in with the strategic plan.
Absolutely,
Is, yeah, like,
absolutely.
what would some of these improvements look like? What would, you know?
And just across the area, we don't put any trash cans in any spot, other than parks, outside of 3 districts. Took Crossroads out at their request, but I mean, you don't have any up in Zeta Dell. Nothing in
We
Yorkshire.
don't have a lot of things.
We got some straight, I got some striped parking items.
I know, we got some paint on the ground. Yeah, no, it's a huge thing. We love it and it's made a huge difference, but yeah.
No, I guess.
Because nobody's emptying them, so they're still go over. There's one in front of Bagel.
Just there.
They take care of,
They
yeah.
take care of
Yeah. Great stuff, great question. So we'll have the a legal,
So I will, yes, I will send out to all of you, sort of, what are your questions? Send back in so that I can create a document for them to work off of and answer for us.
so when would you like us to submit those to you by so that he has some time?
Great question.
to-
When's our next meeting? June 27th? This week would be best.
Yeah.
Fran, will you send that email out?
Sure.
Thank you.
Just
First we
cross
place it out
off
fast.
your name, but mine.
We'll have them here on the 27th. That conversation, I don't know. So we got 3 people not here today. How do we want to tell the others sort of where we're at, right? Because they need to really enter that conversation with pointing this, do they want to point this way, or what are their thoughts? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Maybe it's just a 15 to 20 minute
Debrief.
pre-meeting, but it could be a debrief or a call for the commission in a week or so, just be like, we're gonna have the attorney ask these types of questions, so we need to think about the scope, the scale, the projects, things like that, you know, and really get everyone in the same lane.
Okay, so Lindsay's not here, Stacy's not here, who else is?
Mike, I can talk to Mike.
Mike, yeah. Okay, I'll reach out to Lindsay and
Okay.
Stacy.
There we go.
Even if you're just like, go watch the meeting.
No, I get it. It's just, I watched the meeting the night before the meeting. What did we talk about last episode?
Speaking of which, I met with Jamie Hasselmeyer yesterday. And she was wanting to learn more about what we've learned so far from the CID. I don't know if that video that you had put together, the presentation.
Get it to her, so. She should have, but I will find it again.
Well, she
It's on-
asked me which month it was that we talked about it, and I was like, oh.
That's fine. I'll get the video. to her, so.
I have a copy of it in my CID folder.
There you go. I'm sure I have it. I can't imagine I would throw it away, so. Once I'm all set up, when we talk about money.
Yeah.
So Miss Councilmember Hassmeyer is gonna be your new liaison.
Very excited.
So next month she'll be here and starting. So Pam is rotated. She goes to Old Orchard. Pam Bliss. So Jamie is new, but is definitely in this world and loves this stuff and has asked me like 8 questions that I didn't think of yet. So
And she was on the Sustainability Commission.
she was chair of the Sustainability Commission. Yeah. So, and she's very passionate about that area. So be prepared. You can talk to her. Single-use plastics, and I would not have this will never appear in this room again while I'm here. So
It
we're
was
gonna
awesome,
styrofoam, so
He was like, can we use CID money for like electric charging stations?
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Well, and I think that's a
Oh,
great
and on
carrot.
green dining too.
Yeah. Like people want to see
Mhm.
progressive measures taken there, so I think that would be a good carrot. Also,
Great. Anything else for CID stuff right now?
that's all I got.
So then really pointing at September, just so we all have a concept of it, it's probably the draft BDC recommendation that would go to council. I'm saying draft, meaning that here's where we're going and we're sort of testing the waters before we issue to council some kind of recommendation?
So kind of like.
Is that what you're
an
thinking?
Oh.
I'm asking.
Oh, I think it would be after September, because we need to get the feedback from the community and see.
Look, I tell you what I'm saying, is you're putting some meat on the bone for them.
Yes.
You're not just so esoteric of, what do you think about this?
We'll have our draft to the public.
Yeah, exactly. Have a draft for the public there, that they comment on, and then it's really, you bring it back and
Finalized.
Yeah. it's helpful for timeline, and just thinking through things.
I like that.
You have a mayor and some council members up in April of 26th, so you gotta think about which elections will happen. So,
Can I make a suggestion? You want people to come to the coffee. And you want business owners to come to coffee. You don't want contractors and real estate agents. Correct?
Yes.
Well,
So-
unless they
Well, meat
own
and
a
potato.
building or, I mean, like a business owner.
Right, I wouldn't put them in as a category, they'd be a business owner. The reason I bring this up is a suggestion you do some preliminary information out now to let them know the date. What you could potentially be talking about, why should they give up their time to show up? But not do that 2 weeks before, which we tend to have done before.
I agree,
We've
because
got time,
people have said like, if I
get
had
it on,
more notice, I'd love to go.
right,
Well, I wonder if we come up with some sort of sketch for the subcommittee. The non-commission members on the subcommittee. And have them a rough draft, we could, can we, do we have the capability to do a newsletter yet?
Oh, yeah,
Blue
yeah,
Dot?
we can we'll send out to everyone. We got everyone, we can do that. We can start doing it.
So then we could send them a something, this is in advance, this is
Save
what
the
we
date.
want
Save
to
the
talk about, save the date. These are some of
Very
the
important,
ideas, if you have questions, please bring them, we'll do our best.
I think it's really a matter of just that text, how you want it said and such like that, so.
I mean, I can reach people through our website, and through our calendar. These are all business owners.
right, but that's not the audience that came last time,
Yeah, it was a different mix
Yes.
last time for sure.
right?
Yeah.
Not that was
No,
wrong,
it
it
was
just,
nice.
there
It
was
was
some
different.
people missing. That are important to this conversation.
And then there's like, business owner from Brentwood or something there,
Right,
and it was like, they don't really care about. the
there was
Webster
actually quite a
CIP.
few people that were there that were not
Webster.
Webster Groves business
Well,
owners.
thank the chamber for giving us.
Yeah.
Well, the seats, so that was good.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. is
It was good network.
We would segment the list.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Excellent.
I
Yeah.
understand.
That would be good.
I think it is good in that conversation though, obviously, because all of us municipalities are in a bit of a little bidding war for business, right? I mean, we're all gonna go through this infrastructure improvement in a way, along the way. We're obviously stepping into parks and recreation. There's other things happening. We're lucky with Big Bend getting redone. World Orchard and Crossroads, we're gonna be on the front end of receiving some of that. You see the other districts or other cities start to do some more improvements and things, and we get in that little bit of a war, we're better than our neighbors, and we're not gonna get caught behind them, so. It's good to involve some other folks and let them see it, and also hear from them, right?
Yeah.
Brentwood's done some of this, they're gonna talk about eminent domain and a big project on Manchester, what's that gonna be like, so. So fun, so fun. That's.
Eminent domain, that's your favorite?
No,
Yeah,
it's just my favorite.
okay.
I'll get you running out of town real quick.
So you need language for a save the date type.
That's,
thing.
yes, I would prefer you guys have the language rather than Eric just think about how to state that question there. So, it's your recommendation still. I don't want to get our vision as staff in the midst of that, how you want pattern and package. So,
Great.
I'm happy to have Tier, who starts next week, design it and put it all together for you, but content is still your voice and so on. That's helpful.
Anything else on that topic before we go to football?
Stephanie, you good?
Do we have, so I know there's a glaring person that has not signed up for the Blue Dot and updated it yet, but that's the, I know one.
Don't worry. No, it's fine. So many
Yeah,
people
but-
have.
How many?
Many people have.
Okay.
We have not launched yet. So your suggestions all were great. They've got them all and they're implementing. So everything that you put in, we're doing it exactly as you recommended off the minutes last time, the districts and places. It's gonna be interesting with Zeta Dell. They don't, like like half this community knows it as Zeta Del, and the other half's gonna be like, where's Zeta Del? So that's gonna be a little moment, figure out some marketing help there for that.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
But,
got a cool name.
so the directory is ready to go, and in fact, I'm hoping that it'll be up today on our website, so not just, it exists now, but I mean, on the city's website embedded and such. The piece that hasn't gone, and it's the most frustrating piece, is the business license, piece, which up until yesterday, we were struggling with, what we're still struggling with. But we're gonna have to go back for this cycle to get people for their license renewals to the old system. Not because Blue Dot's bad technology in any way. We found out in Webster, there's difference with the county plat lines. So all goes to property, and you have, Old Webster has two different zones of taxation. It's the railroad shouldn't be hard at all to figure this out. Those lines are different. Blue Dot doesn't want to draw new lines because now they're liable for new lines, right? And they want somebody to draw. Well, it's not our lines, it's the county's lines. Imagine how long it will take the county to correct the plat. Just,
Another 100 people.
so we may never, but so we're figuring that out. We just don't have the ability to do it right now. Also, our audit hopes, Old Webster certainly has heard this. As we've looked at business licenses, there have been many businesses that repeat gross receipts every year. Meaning that they make the same amount of money this year as they made last year and the year before, and it just literally the system spits out the thing and they, yep, that's how much I made. That may be our good sometimes, but it's probably not when we look at sales, for those that are sales tax eligible, they have to pay sales tax. Problem is that we wanted to get a semblance of an audit before we. I'll just use it. So that Descendants renewal would go out from Blue Dot with, we believe your gross receipts last year were this amount, because we have that data. We can get to that. Problem is, that's protected by confidential under Missouri Department of Revenue. I can see it, but I can't give it to anyone who's not. And Missouri's not sure if they're gonna give it to a company. Blue Dot was hosting the system, right?
Oh, right.
The data and such, so minor issues, it's gonna get worked out, it's just taking far too long to get worked out, so. And I apologize for that, I wish I had a better answer, we're just down enough people that it's falling from the list all the time, so. But, that's, budget is now well underway, and so I can, write a letter to the business owners. So that all of you,
Business owner said, do we have to do anything to like? Put our business?
so yeah, so you're going, in that letter, the
Got
two
it.
parts of the letter, renewing the old system, here's your form, all that kind of stuff, same way as always. Most folks know how to do it, many have already done, right? They just said anyways, just send me that one, I'll fill it out. That's fine, we're happy with that. The other side will be the instructions, and Blue Dot's working on that, some little videos of here's how you go in, log in and find your business and, change it. Some clip screenshots and things like that as well, so that people have instructions.
But there is like a, Blue Dot just does take like a fill of businesses anyway. It's not like you have to opt in.
No,
order to be on.
No, but you will not have the option for opting out.
Okay.
That's built in. So if somebody really doesn't want to be on the directory, fine, but if they really don't want to be, they don't think. So,
But your account is so you can like put your
Exactly.
sales or.
yep, exactly. There's talk, a couple other cities in the area, not in the area, but in southeast to central east Missouri, whatever we call this area here. St. Louis South, we'll put it that way. On the eastern side, I've looked at Blue Dot, which is good because that leads us into the rewards conversation with Blue Dot. And that's something, just put it in your radar to think about in the future is Blue Dot allows you to be able to track those purchases as a consumer. And the city could potentially put in a shop local reward system where the city's funding a rebate. So you get 5% back on everything you buy from Zoe's Attic. You get or anywhere across the city, right? But the point is somebody's got to fund that. It's usually the city. It's a great economic development tool. It could be the CID in that way in terms of encouraging shopping local. But that's good because it's bringing that app more and more
Yeah.
into the use around the area. So
Yeah.
What a
everybody uses
dynamic
it.
app.
Yeah.
Very
Las Vegas does it. So if you talk about Las Vegas awards, that's Blue Dot. So City of Las Vegas. That's what they use.
Yeah, that's just kind of like the new standard around when people are used to using it.
And it's a convenient system for us because it's actually not, you have to upload your receipts and that. If you tie your payment card right to the app. So if I use my debit card at Dewey's and then I go to Schnarr's and then, up the road all the way, all those purchases will just automatically get tagged into my rebate category. So people will get rebates, they don't even know they're like, Schnarr's, fill out the form.
So
and-
then would that be something that would somehow work kind of like Webster Bucks where they can use it at any business and?
So the rebate is actual cash. So, well, we could decide to give them Webster bucks. So we could decide that, but it's actual cash. They can only use that in
Oh,
Webster.
like, so back on the credit card or whatever.
Yeah, it would go back to them in that regard in a rebate. So we can make that decision, and we've also talked to them about Webster Bucks because that's. We at some point need to get away from the paper certificate system and get, because we've had many counterfeits this year again. Yeah, and so I'll tell you, they're not real good either. I don't know what that, so.
People are
There's
wild.
businesses that stop them, but they turn them in, but there's, been some, one was, is it Linda Walls, as they say it, Jewers?
Lindenwood.
Oh, that'd be the
Linwood,
spot.
yeah.
$1 billion.
No, there was $15,000 Webster Bucks. I was like, these come in denominations of 5 and 10. And there was a stack and there were. So, but point being is we want people also to reload them at their till. So why can't I go to Maypop and buy Webster Bucks for my Christmas gifts? I have to come
I
here.
think
to do that.
honestly, it's like, I think it's like the coolest gift thing, you know, like if you've got a kid that lives somewhere in
Yep.
another city or neighborhood and you don't know exactly what they want, just give them a gift card and they can go
Shop local.
Yeah. Make your own, write them a check.
I can tell you that we give a lot, I give a lot out for Christmas to my staff and my team here and such. And San Jose got a lot of them. So I don't. No, people here go to San Jose, so.
cool. All right.
So the point being, I do expect Blue Dot, not by this time next week, you'll all have information on how to be able to get into Blue Dot and affect your directory. I think the bigger question on the QR map, just so you all are aware, I held the graphic designers to let Tierra come on board and to bring you next month. If we have time, we'll have to judge this, Madam Chair, with your schedule and the agenda. The brand designs for the QR codes and such like that. So we want to get, I'm also gonna send out the Webster Grows branding kit, which has the Explore Webster Grows brand in it, so you can see that, get a sense from you of colors and all those types of things that we use. I don't think you are gonna want any great changes, but I want to make sure, once we have these, we want to go to print and get them out across the way in the places we have selected, so.
Any new business? That was a lot of stuff. Is there any new business?
Just sort of a city update, but also new business. So Renee Tyler, the new DCM of Community Vitality, has been hired and she's here. She will start meeting with all the business districts and the BDC in June, moving forward. I will be on like a 6-month plan with her. So it will be November, December before I'm rotated off. So we have 2 of us here. And then Tierra Thomas starts next week, our Public Affairs and Engagement Manager, Thursday. So she'll be at all your meetings as well. I've asked her, just put it on the schedule for at least the first year, unless barring some major circumstances, that she'll just become pleased to really get embedded in the needs and concerns you'll have.
Which one is gonna be in charge of Explore Webster Groves?
The brand? Tierra.
Okay.
So Renee's job is really much like I did with the business district, coordinate what work they need done and the BDC. She'll be sitting in that role, and I'll still be here to help in any possible way. I have the Arts Commission now.
You've been beamed up.
You know, learn all about sculptures and sidewalks. That's what I.
Has there been any further thought about the onboarding conversation we had last month?
Which onboarding conversation?
Well, you were
I wasn't
here.
here, so-
Yeah. We were just
Onboarding my
talking,
replacements. I wasn't here.
well, like Stacy and I got, we got notices.
Reappointed last night or 2 nights ago.
Oh, great.
Yes, congratulations. 2
Thanks.
years.
And so we were wondering if there had ever been talk about like aligning, like like being the chair is a January thing, but then,
The terms are all over. Yes.
yes, the terms are all over and, like Stacy's was short because she was filling in for somebody else. And so things like that, but also, onboarding of people like, like what is the BDC? How do you do it? Like a packet or some sort of video or something.
Boy, we talked about that about 2.5 years ago. So I think it's finally coming around. The mayor has now a board and commission handbook, which he's been working on. That will be a collection of much of that. It's tough to get everyone. And something about we have 17 total boards and commissions and try to get all those folks in the room. We're talking a couple hundred people. So we've been looking at what we use for training online, cybersecurity training and such as KnowBe4. So literally that we could stop, take a quiz in the middle, things like that. Having Neil do the open record, open meetings, lost, all those kinds of presentations we do into that system. So that then you all don't have to take time to come here and sit in a room to do those trainings. You can do them that way, but then offer also sometimes to just network and bring that up, so. It's on the agenda, I don't know when the council will put it in, so
Sure.
it's a good thing to bring up to the mayor.
Fair enough, though. I mean, they just went through and redefined what they wanted and how they went, from commissions.
I think, Fran, you can certainly tell me if I'm wrong, but probably the most involved the council and the mayor have been with boards and commissions directly in some years.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So I mean, this annual report like you did on a week ago, that'll be an every year thing. I expect during the budget process, you'll be presenting what's our plan for the year ahead and here's our budget request. They met on Tuesday night to follow up to all of that. They agreed wholly with your request. They endorsed the work plan, move forward on the SID. $4,000 is there. They noted, they talked about whether or not we should put social media funding in or marketing funding in now, or should we wait? They decided to wait, the council did, but it was discussed in the work session and such, so. Yep, so they're more engaged on those questions than I think they've been.
Great. Okay, any quick business district updates?
No,
Old Webster?
no, we meet next Tuesday. So, this is a rare month that we're after, the BDC, so, no.
Street dance on the 18th, 16th, 15th.
15, because it's the
15,
same
yes.
day as Crossroads is having a carnival tournament.
Oh, boy.
Ah,
On the same day.
Oh,
By the way, is there music in the night?
Both beautiful. Oh,
No.
wait, but no,
Well,
I'm mixing it up.
No,
no, the cornhole is 3:30 to 8:30,
Yes.
and there's live music. The music is a Beatles tribute band.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Street
goodness.
dance is 5:30 to 10. And then it's live music, and it's a different Beatles tribute band.
So you're ready, Chris Westmeyer.
Yeah, no kidding. We've had the same band for how many years?
Yeah, we're all doing a whole.
We had to unite all the
whole, like,
districts.
United Webster.
you don't work to get June 15th, that's the monkeys.
Yeah.
Hey, we're the monkeys.
Actually,
They need to get on that.
All I know is Crossroads, someone walked up Crossroads to Old Webster and said, I just want to hold
hell,
Oh, wow.
Oh, gosh.
Obviously Digital Strike and their cornhole tournament, Crossroads, and
Yeah.
anything else from Crossroads?
Any new
moving forward,
businesses?
We've got a new bar opening in October.
Just stop for a second. We have a bar that doesn't serve food in Webster Groves. Just all
Yes.
stop.
That's
They got
It's a
a,
huge
Wow.
shift of,
yeah,
they are gonna
Like
have a little bit of
a
food.
century change.
yeah, over that. Wow.
I expect a lot more in that council meeting than it.
I know.
Just gonna be one of those days.
So, got ice cream, right?
Well, ice cream is at the other place. The bar,
Next door.
yeah.
So you got,
The old
whiskey
market.
on one side, ice cream on the other?
Yeah.
Sounds like pretty
Correct.
Oh.
pretty.
My brother, full disclosure before I.
Sip and shop, yeah.
Exactly. Nice, yeah, so that's opening in October, we've got another new business that we're excited about that's moving in down the street, but that's gonna be like a year out that they purchased the building. So yeah, Crossroads is doing good, streetscape project is chugging along.
The
We're very
storefronts
excited.
look really
Yeah, we're sprucing
beautiful.
it up.
Yeah, it looks
Uh,
good.
CBD still on target to open when they want.
They were supposed to open today,
That's what I thought.
and I saw they had somebody from the city having like some inspection yesterday, so I think they're getting pretty close, but not today.
I'm surprised the city let that, neon sign go. I'm very.
You were surprised? I was just surprised you were.
I mean, I drive by it every day, multiple times a day, and I'm like, really?
We've had some, I mean, you want to get into some things that the BBC should look at sometime, my opinion, advice to you all, the signage. Vanilla Sugar Bakery, Katie Cahoon, who's now on the Old Orchard District, cannot put a sign up in front of the Hagen property. She has to have a sandwich for it. Because of the way her setbacks work and her building size, she does not have a sign, she has a sandwich.
I think we could have put like a 25-foot sign, on post on.
Right, I mean, so what I mean is, you
Yeah,
just have
no,
all
they
these
did that
different, and there's,
very
and a lot of it is, I don't want to drive in a street that looks like Vegas, or you know what I mean? I get that, I'm not saying that I oppose that at all, but it's. As the market has moved on what signage means, the code is still back here, just so you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Be a standard.
We deal with it here, I mean, like, should we have digital signs? We own one at Parks and Recreation, we allowed it to go in there, but we've never put one here at City Hall because we not supposed to have them
Yeah.
in the business district and such, so.
The architecture.
He spelled special the other day. Oh, by the way, so we got 3 calls about that, so. For Public Works. person flipped A and I in special. We had 3 calls before 9 o'clock, so we know the community's watching.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the good news.
Yeah.
You know, they're reading the sign.
Yeah.
The architectural review board is who does that currently.
That's correct, yes, yeah, and they, I mean, it's there, but there's some pretty basic signage things that are, you can't put an illuminated sign out if you're a business, right, which I understand. LEDs, can understand that in some ways, but also it's a pretty big businesses, take up some big space, they can't do any of that, you know, and such, so. School
Yeah.
district can, the schools can, because they're institutions.
Yeah, I was
There's
gonna,
a-
I was
Yep.
gonna say, there's.
And then we just exempted ourselves for the Parks and Recreation Park, but I was like, we don't, never do it here, so.
Facilities can, because it's not that
I,
kind of
the,
sign.
the neon, I have no idea, I honestly, I was like. Staying out of this one, so
Did it actually get approved or did
It
they just
did.
do it?
it got approved.
Got approved.
If they're at that point and it's on and they're opening, it's done. Signs are already inspected.
The pink awnings are very cute, in my opinion.
Which
Those are
matches
those
the
just
neon,
just went on.
ties
Yeah.
in the color of the neon.
Yeah.
Yeah, those make sense.
But there's also, you know, the height, if you have a second story.
Right.
There's real value behind the sign code. I'm not diminishing it, just there's some improvements in signage that have gone along the way. We've
Sounds
thought
Just
about-
Uniformity.
Yeah, we've thought
Right.
about solar benches. There's benches that, you know, they have a bench to sit on, and then they have that sort of arc that goes up over the top, and it's a solar panel on top, so it brings its own power in. Also, you can charge, have charging
Oh,
stations.
that's cute.
But then you can also have a direct, sort of a kiosk type thing on that panel that goes up. It's LED, you can't put those in, so, you know, do you want to run all that hassle with, you know, community standards and such?
Old Orchard.
Old Orchard is,
Old Orchard is getting ready to do their gazebo series. In fact, we will, through various benefits to Old Orchard, there have a thing in the Art Mirror. Publication that the Times is doing at their behest, that was their idea, which is very nice.
Yeah.
So
Shows you the
it's like a
commitment.
special page or something.
No, an ad, but it's a good one.
Mhm.
That they're not charging me for,
Oh,
so. But they're also gonna be a sponsor.
mhm. Nice.
Now, that we do sponsors to pay for that. But yeah, that's their biggest thing so far.
Any businesses coming in or,
Well, the Little moved from
yeah,
Crossroads to where Devon used to be. There's a new, I don't have a good explanation, it's a printing company,
Oh,
but they
yeah.
do,
oh, Papillon Press.
yeah,
It's
moving into
darling.
where Serendipity used to be.
Mhm.
In fact, they may already be open.
Yeah, they are open. I just went in there yesterday.
Is it true that what's moving into Weber's is another town? 3 Thai restaurants?
I don't know if it's a.
Technically, I don't,
Technically,
technically, I don't think it's time.
I love the email, but.
Stadium now.
That's gonna be a little hot spot.
Diddy Mouse
for Thai.
Vietnamese,
Oh, got
that's
it,
why I can
okay,
say that.
all right. Good correction.
I'm not getting between Old Webster and Old Orchard on this, but I'm just gonna say, it's a very, very much bohemian feel I heard about Old Orchard having back in the day. I was like, oh yeah, I can see all the Chinese and Asian food and delicacies down there. I can see that.
Totally.
Well, they used to have Filipino. But it's gonna be a while.
I do
Is-
love BB.
That's gonna be a
So
long
good.
while.
I mean, that building, yeah.
Bruce.
Has anybody called Bob Weber and told him that Reckon closed?
Yes.
no, I didn't know that.
Bob Weber got his
Yes.
couple of checks from the, it's Reagan Alley's closed. So,
Yeah.
Whole other issue there, but, he's like, oh yeah, I heard about that. And that's where he left it right there.
Damn. No, he's not quite as honest about
Oh, I think,
jumping back into Webster.
I think he's open to it in some way. I think he's probably making more money just having 2 places and not having the expenses.
I mean, Weber's my son's favorite place, so on his birthday, we went out to Arnold.
Yeah.
At Weber's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, my
I
son,
expected CJ Muggs level reaction with this close, but I was like, oh, God, we got off
Yeah.
this one, so.
my son's friend,
Mhm.
worked at Racanelli's, and he showed up there for a shift and nobody was there. He's like, what's going on?
Oh.
That's usually a sign.
Yeah.
The door's locked.
Yeah,
Never tell restaurant folks never get told they're being laid off until they're laid off.
Until they get
Yeah.
in.
Yikes. Okay, anything else?
Just briefly on the business districts, all their budgets were approved as well. Old Webster's, we've gone back and looked at a lot of business license issues there with their revenue. 23, it tanked. We don't know why. It has to be a collection issue. We've gone back through our records and made sure we got all the money to Old Webster that belongs there. The rest of you all are met your estimates, right? It just really came from like 40s down to 23,000. Like, where did that go? So the problem with our timing means that the 25 budget, you don't have any numbers from 24, so you're relying on the 23 actual to give you an estimate looking at 25. And so until we got later in the process, it was that 21,000. That caused a lot of consternation. Oh, we spent a lot of time on the budget and what do we have to cut or what's wrong with the revenue, right? Valid points and valid questions. We look back at all the businesses, where level of their gross receipts are, what kind of businesses we have in Old Webster. Believe we should be able to get $40,000 in revenue. So the council put back a couple things that Old Webster had asked to be funded from other places, put back in. But Old Webster does have a different cost share now with the city's general fund on the congregational parking lot. With that lease is renewed for employee parking.
Since we have 1 minute,
Mhm.
was there ever any update on the state and like how they were going to do sales tax on food? The grocery
It did not
stores?
pass.
Okay.
The legislature has ended the session. It did not pass the session. So that's one more year. So, yeah, so that's very good for us. Bigger for Brentwood. 33% of the budget structure.
Oh, my.
Really, the pool cities like we are, when we're talking about sales tax pool, grocery's not as hard on us. Grocery's hard on Brentwood, Kirkwood, those places with the big box grocery stores. Huge.
Target and
So,
stuff.
yeah, very big.
No Walmart, Webster.
Okay, anything else before we adjourn?
Councilmember Bliss apologizes she couldn't be here. She couldn't find a colleague to fill in as well, but she is also wanted me to say she appreciated her time with you and she's here. If you guys need anything, just reach out. So,
Oh, shoot, sorry to interrupt. Should we talk about that June 1st?
Oh, real quick, yeah, so I don't know, Stephanie, are you all doing anything for that June 1st neighborhood crawl?
I think so. Those emails were going to me, but in my spam folder. And they just texted me yesterday because we partner with them a lot. And they're like, why have you ignored us? So I don't know what we're doing yet, but I think we are.
That's
So-
through STL made.
It's through STL Made, and it was fun, because, I mean, I think Pam and I like to think that it came from our conversation with them.
I think so.
Where, you know, like they do the 314 day and then they do the shop local for the holidays, and we said what we really need is something in the summertime.
mhm.
And so they came up with this neighborhood crawl, which
Okay.
is June 1st.
Businesses in bloom. That's what they're calling it.
Cute.
Yeah.
Well, we should capitalize on that somehow.
Yeah, you should.
It really can't be. It sounds like
That one.
They like me now.
Then, okay,
Is this
so
something you
anyway,
should have to do?
it's only in select neighborhoods where it's like really walkable and like has that small town kind of feel. Webster Groves is one of them, and so I know a lot of businesses are going to be participating, and they can all choose their own
Mhm.
way to do it, but what's really neat is that you've got the, you know, the push is gonna come from the Love Local
Mhm.
campaign, and then the buy-in to do it was $25.
Should we do like a quick little BBC like recommendation to business owners to sign up still? Cause I think you still can sign up. or
How
should
would we
just,
get
like,
out to them?
Guerrilla style, like go
Oh,
tell
yeah.
a friend.
We can do telephone. We can send them out an email. I mean, just like we did with the STL 314 day.
Yeah,
We sent that stuff out
Oh,
by
okay.
email, so we can do that.
Yeah, if we can do that,
I
like,
just need it.
If I give you the language today, can we get that out like
Uh-huh.
tomorrow?
Yes, I will in fact I will have another person type it up and make sure it gets
Oh,
in this
perfect.
queue so I can press the button.
I'll
This
handle
afternoon.
that.
yeah,
Sweet.
yeah. No,
Just
I just
a little
tagged a
extra
bunch of
nudge.
business owners that I knew on Instagram, and I'm like, hey, let's all do this.
Right, cause stuff like that, if Stephanie's just getting it in her spam folder for it to come from another spot, like it's, who knows who else is in the
Well,
same situation.
And it was so weird that it came into my spam folder because I email with Christina all the time. And like we do so many partnerships with them that I was like, I really don't know what about this email all of a sudden made it flag for spam. So I'm sure that could be happening for other people too.
Yeah.
I will also throw out here just for people to know, and if anybody would like to be involved in this, you can email me. We're probably doing a Taylor Swift themed scavenger hunt across the city of Webster. So there is a book coming out that is about Taylor. It's a kid's book. So this will probably be more focused on, well, the publisher emailed and made it sound like Taylor Swift was signing a copy of this book. And thank goodness we clarified that it's just the author of the book signing, which is lovely, but very different than Taylor Swift signing something, obviously. So we will also be organizing that in June to celebrate this release of the book. So if anybody in this room knows somebody who would like to be involved, I don't have it fully mapped out yet. We just found out about this week. But that's also hopefully something cool that will be happening across Webster.
Yeah, we would, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't everybody participate and have
Everybody
fun with
loves
something
Taylor.
better?
We've made some money, Taylor.
Yeah.
Taylor.
Just one quick final update.
A great thing.
Obviously with Renee coming on, the city manager and I talked, and we are gonna put Fran under contract. Fran has worked for how many years without a contract with the city?
Oh, more than a decade.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so literally it's been a month independent contractor with us, and so we feel that we should put her on contract. Same levels we've already funded and such, but it's wanted to make sure that you all knew that. Then also I'll be working with business districts, namely the trade association, but also Old Orchard when they organize that on formalizing the agreement between the district and the trade association on the funds that subsidize both. So, just things like the SID would have to do, but that we need to do now.
We're thinking about getting rid of her.
Business district?
Yeah, no, the trade association.
Oh,
Welcome aboard, Fran.
yeah. Fran, welcome
Welcome
aboard.
aboard. Congratulations.
You can try to tell the city council they now own the street dance and all those other things to get done.
Great, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Thanks.
Everyone in favor? All right, see you next time.
Are we 8:15 or 8?
Or
Or Webster?
8:15.
8:15 now? Okay, I gotta change the calendars. I was like, I thought we were at 8:15, and then that one meeting was back at 8.
only 8 during budget season,
Okay, so January, February, March, and April.
not April.
It'll be April next year. Costs are going up. I can't do much about that.
That's true, that's true.
No.
You gotta Zoom with Steve, you gotta get there,
What's that?
you gotta Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's off this week.
Huh?
Yeah. Is there anything you need from me on any of this stuff other than we talked about?
I think we just need to get stuff to you, actually.
Just making sure there anything else you need from me, and you need, like, as you'll formulate questions, or there will be things that the attorneys won't have that on to get you, like sales tax potential. things like
Right,
that.
so I was gonna try and like. Send a message to Julia and you about any kind of questions like that, like. Things where we may want some data, like what are our neighbors charging in sales tax? What are some examples of CIDs in St. Louis
Yep.
region, things like that.
Can do.
Would it make sense to make that meeting a little longer? Like
You
an
certainly can.
hour and a half?
That's really the question. So I mean, this is one of the things I want to
The
ask about.
June meeting?
Do we want, because you've got the collateral, the print collateral for those QR codes. I know Stacy's gonna say, when are we getting those out? And she's right to say it. I mean, I go on them in the summer too. Do we have 2 meetings?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
is it better to get,
Oh,
let's get a meeting with all this other stuff out, and let's have a CID meeting, whole separate, much more practical, tactical things, and then this big bonus.
if we were gonna do that, I would personally suggest having one meeting that's the legal team presenting to us, and then having our regularly scheduled meeting where we can talk about like the collateral for that, and maybe, any questions that came to us after meeting with that team.
We knew that, but it's more for you guys, how long you have it available to meet with the other business owners. I know some people run out of here right at night.
Who runs that?
Was that?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Go with that.
Yeah.
Summer is a little tricky with, like, I know my kids are home and
Sure,
stuff, but I can always zoom in if I.
I just know long meetings are tough, right? If you're not expecting the long meetings, so it's really
Yeah,
preparing
you need to
everyone.
be prepared.
Yeah,
Right.
This is gonna be a long one, and
I
You know,
think,
like when
I
we have the
think,
budget, we tell people it's gonna be a longer meeting.
yeah, I think 2 separate would be my preference, again, because.
we can poll the members and ask. We can do that.
There
too.
we go,
Can we do that, Fran? Poll
Sure.
and ask if we,
if they would rather have like a long meeting for June or have 2 separate ones, one for,
Both in June,
yes.
right?
yeah.
Once we get the collateral approved by you guys, the printing should not take long, so I'm
Can
hopeful.
we do that by email or does it have to be on?
It doesn't have to be, but I mean, I know how marketing goes, you all have certain things you want to see, you know, what's it look like and colors and all that, so we can do it on email if you want. It's up to You
I'm
all,
fine with that, like honestly, you know. I feel like we're all just approved.
Yeah.
it's really, yeah.
Yeah,
Ultimately, we
I'm-
said yes, say approve, but we want to know what you all,
Okay.
it's been your project, so,
Yeah.
you know, what do you think of it? Because once we print, we want to print and then get out and get it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
So hopefully by the end of July 4th, it's all out.
Yes,
Yeah.
other people might have more opinions
Friends,
on it.
Thank you.
I'm fine with approving it via email. What do you think?
Go on, how about that?
Okay. We were talking about approving the collaterals to the webs, to
Yeah.
the Webster Girls
Approved.
email and
Yes.
approving of the
Yeah,
approval.
approved in
Yeah.
advance.
Sorry.